by Sam as we take on scoring the players. And yet again, it's a case where we link up, and it's on a horrible defeat. But we'll start with the goalkeeper, Sam, and I mean, I don't know what you. I mean, James in the instant reaction said that those penalties had to be saved, and I've got to disagree with him, to be honest. But how do you think Martin Dubravka did today?
Dubravka was the least of our concerns today. Penalties, okay, when they're straight down the middle to kind of defend James in the fan reaction show a little bit. When they're down the middle, you think, oh, keeper, it's there to be saved. But they were that powerful and there was so much venom in it that I don't think Dubravka could be blamed. It was more the cause of the penalties. But I think Dubravka did fine. I probably... I'm going to give him a 7. I don't know what you think, but I think Dubravka's just a solid 7. Didn't really do anything wrong. Didn't do anything. As I say, he's the least of our worries today.
Yeah, I mean, I would have given him a 6 probably, but it's not a one to argue about, to be honest. It's just one of them. He took a couple of decent crosses. Mind, I thought he got a bit caught out with the header that went across goal with Danny. No, the header that went towards goal with Danny Welbeck, and he got caught out with his post a little bit, but. Nah, he took a couple of decent crosses. His distribution was actually really good today. So, no complaints really, mate. Get your comments in there. Let one know what you think of Dubravka today. But I'll go on to Manquillo, and at right back, I thought he was okay, but the movement to that left-hand side, and it's been said that he's good in both positions. I couldn't disagree more. I think at left back, he is so suspect. It is unreal. And I'm going to start off by giving him a 3 out of 10. I think if he hadn't made his mistake, it would have probably been a 5 or maybe even a 6 because he had a solid game. But this mistake is just unforgivable for me. He gets beat by Schar so quick. He gets too tight to him, gets turned, and he just drags him down. And it's a game. Well, it cost a point. This mistake, believe it or not, we shot ourselves in the foot on the most part today throughout the entire team, but this mistake was probably one of the worst of the day, and I can't give him any high or low, to be honest. What do you think, Sam? In agreement or any disagreements?
Yeah, I am in agreement. As I said before, it was a bit like the old Manquillo that doesn't really look too clever. He was poor today in the main, but first half was promising, which is all the more frustrating about this game because the first half we looked all right and ASM and Manquillo were linking up nicely down the right-hand side like they were, but the second half was just an absolute shambles, which is why they're being marked so poorly because we've gone from cruising to 3 points to shooting ourselves in the foot and embarrassing ourselves once again.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, to be honest. We did shoot ourselves in the foot from as soon as that penalty was given. Matt Ritchie, we just never got back into it. But I'll give you Jamaal Lascelles. I've said he was our best player today, but there's a couple of people online, because I put on Facebook he was our best player, and a lot of people disagreed with us, which I was very surprised with. So he's kind of causing a bit of controversy today, Lascelles. How do you think he did?
I thought he did well. I thought he was the only defender that covered himself in any respectability today. Good clearance off the line in the first half. Dealt with Deeney fine. I mean, let's not forget that the only reason Watford won today was from, I mean, would you say penalties are set pieces? I would. So 2 set pieces again and 2 errors that weren't Lascelles' fault. Lascelles didn't make any glaring errors. He did fine. He kept. If it wasn't for them 2 absolutely stupid errors, we would have got away with it in the second half. But no, I thought Lascelles did well. I thoroughly enjoyed him getting stuck into Danny Rose when Rose dallied on the ball. That was probably the highlight in the game now. After all is said and done, I don't. Maybe it's just misplaced rage. I think at the end of the pretty embarrassing second half that's got people frustrated, but I thought Lascelles did well today. 7 out of 10, probably maybe our best player.
I'd say he was, for sure. I would have given him an 8 out of 10 just to stamp down that he was our best player. But if it's 7 out of 10, 7 out of 10. But let us know, because if you thought Lascelles played bad, do let one know in the comments, because he is causing a bit bit of back and forth between Newcastle Twitter at the minute and Newcastle social media in general. But I'll take Federico Fernandez, and to be honest, I think that he's a victim of the squad management problem that Steve Bruce has started. He's played every minute, and as the more he plays, the worse he's getting. And today was just, it's the worst he's probably played since we played Man United on Boxing Day, where he just made so many mistakes. And in the second half, I think he gave away. I think just after the penalty, he passed it out to Deeney, and Deeney, to be fair, had a sitter and he missed it. But it's a rare shocker from Feddy the day. Although he had a moment here and there where it was a good bit of defending, and he read the game well and covered Danny Rose. I can't give him any more than maybe a 5 out of 10.
Generous.
I think so. In fact, how it will form it if you haven't typed it up already. Sorry if you have, but yeah, poor display, and I would hope Steve Bruce does give him a bit of time off, because he does definitely need it for sure. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I think you're right in saying he is a victim of Bruce's squad rotation. Could you have put Schar in the back line today instead of in centre midfield? Who knows? But yeah, Fernandez probably needs a bit of looking after. And although centre back isn't the most energetic of positions, you know, was it 6 games now in all bang 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 quick succession?
Yeah.
That you know, most doesn't matter if you're how good an athlete you are, you're going to need a rest at some point.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. And we'll move on to Danny Rose, and barring being told to clear it by Lascelles, I think in the second half he was more of a steady Eddie, and we took him off, and it clearly showed straight away, because whenever Saar had the ball, he was just going straight through him, and he wasn't letting him get in too tight, and he wasn't letting him turn. He was showing more of an experienced head, and we really missed him, I think, when we went off. But Sam, what are you gonna score Danny Rose, do you reckon?
I thought he had a really good opening half an hour, and then I think he was really poor for half an hour, and then he got took off at a strange time. I don't really know why he got took off. All in all, I'm gonna give him a 5, because the defence as a whole, bar Lascelles, weren't great today. But Rose coped with Schar okay, as I say, in the first half an hour, but he made a couple of mistakes. I don't think it was complacency creeping in, but he dawdled. Yeah, it was a bit iffy after that, but it's no coincidence that when he went off, things went from bad to worse. So 2 years ago today, he was playing in a World Cup semi-final. So
you nicked that one off Peter Drury. I'm not letting that one go. I remember, but 5 out of 10 is probably a fair one, to be fair. We'll move on to Jonjo, and to be honest, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10 straight from the off. He was comfortable in the early goings of the game, but that's because Watford weren't pressuring him. When he had that bit of space, he was picking out the pass and he was doing really well. But Nigel Pearson made the decision to make the midfield push a little bit more, and from that point, you didn't see him in the game again. Yeah, as soon as he's under pressure, it just seems he kind of the world opens up, and defensively, he went completely missing today. I don't think he made any tackles or anything like that today. None that I remember. But yeah, fairly poor from Jonjo today. Didn't really. In the first half an hour, he opened up his passing, but after that, I think you just turned into a bit of a ghost. So yeah, unless you have any disagreements, Sam, I don't feel he played very well.
I think 5 is fair. He struggled in the main. I mean, I just don't want to see him alongside the next player we're going to come on to play again together in midfield, because it just doesn't work.
Nah, and speaking of his midfield partner in crime today, how do you feel Fabian Schar did in his wrong position today?
So I'm torn between 2 marks, but I've gone for 3 out of 10 for Schar. I don't know what's going on with him, but since Christmas he's not looked interested. Started the season fine. Lately he's not looked good. Can we dispel the myth that he's a capable defensive central midfielder now because
I
he's
what
just
argued that earlier in the season, didn't we? Yeah,
he just
I'll
he just
take me telling on that one.
yeah. Looked poor. Doesn't look fit enough for a centre midfield role. Looked pretty laboured by the end of the game. Well, not even the end of the game. After an hour or so. Okay, did some half decent passes, which is why he's not getting a 2 out of 10. But I just don't want him in midfield.
Nah,
If
neither do I.
anything, put him at centre back instead of Fernandez. Give him a rest. Put
And then
Matty
give
Longstaff
Matty
in there.
Longstaff a chance. Yes, I completely agree.
I don't know what's going on with Matty, but it's a real concern. I think Matty's tenacity in midfield could have been really, really well placed today, but Schar was. It's a pretty embarrassing run of form he's stringing together that, if he's not careful, could see him out the door.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what's happened to him, and he's just. I think that's why he was worth so little, at Deportivo, because I think when it's going good and he's got a manager that plays him the right way, he does really well and he shows his quality. But I think under Bruce, I know I've spoke about his man management and how he's got the best out of like Manquillo and Shelvey, but where he's got the best out of them, he's got the worst out of Fabian Schar. I just think he looks so below par, and at times he looks disinterested. And I think there was a time in the game where Saw ran past him and he just lazily jogged, and it fell into his path and how he intercepted it. But that would have been on him if that ended up in a goal or a great chance. But very disinterested at times, just Fabian Schar look, and I just hope he can turn it around. But I fear it won't happen unless there's a change of manager, which looks unlikely if the current regime stays in place. But we'll move on to with talisman, Allan Saint-Maximin, and from the off, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Actually, no, I'll give him a 5 out of 10. He had that
Sure.
5 out of 10. He had that glorious opportunity where he didn't lift the ball over the keeper, and I think if that was maybe a Joelinton or Dwight Gayle, I think he would have got a lot more shit for it. But Maximin just didn't look to be in the game. I think Watford had an idea to nullify him, and they did that really well. They doubled up on him through Welbeck, and I think it's Formiga at wing back. And they had a plan for him in mind, and it was 2-3 at a time, and trying to deal with him. And they had a great game plan to keep him out of the game. And barring that big chance that he had, we didn't see much of Maximin. But when you've got a player that good, teams do prepare with players like that in mind. And it's an off game for him, but at the end of the day, he still looked like he was picking up a bit of a knock. He looked slow in little bits of match play that he was actually involved in. So I think maybe it might have been worth just playing Lazaro for this one and have a fully fit Saint-Maximin ready for Spurs on Wednesday. But I don't know, Sam, what do you think of Maximin?
He could still be carrying a bit of a knock.
It
Who
wouldn't
knows?
surprise us.
It wouldn't surprise me at all, no. I'd have probably given him a 6. He could have won us the game if he'd have scored that one-on-one to make it 2-0. He looked bright early on. We started really well. That cross he put in was absolutely sublime.
It really was,
criminal. No one was gambling and diving in on the end of that, apart from Almiron, who was offside. He's going to have to get used to teams having a special plan for him and trying to nullify him from the game. That's something he's got to adapt to and got to get used to, because it's going to happen continually. There's no secret about him anymore now. Teams know about him and how special he is and how special he can be. We all love him to bits. It was great to see him on the pitch. He played 90 minutes again, which again he's not being looked after. So hopefully he comes through unscathed and he's fit to take part on Wednesday, because then we'll need him for that, and I'd take him out for Brighton the following game.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. We'll move on to Miguel Almiron, and I don't think he had his best of games, to be honest. He was kind of just not really there. He ran, but he has these games every now and then where he's just completely not involved in the game. And I think this was one of these ones. I'll let you score him, Sam, and see what you think of him. But I can't see him getting a high mark.
I was going to give him a 5 up until you gave ASM a 5. So, but on that basis, I'm going to give him a 4. Didn't really do anything today. Simple as that. He went missing again, like he did against Villa, I think it was.
Yeah, it was Villa.
Just went missing. Didn't really do a lot. Didn't have any chances to speak of, which is a shame because, again, he was another one that was in a rich vein of scoring form. Well, as rich a vein as he can be in a short space of time. Yeah, there was nothing really to speak of. It was a pretty invisible appearance from him today. Yeah. Again, I think he did play the full 90 again, so which isn't ideal.
No, it's not, especially because we don't look like we'll have an outlet without him or without Almiron or Saint-Maximin. So, yeah, we need to keep them as fit as possible. Otherwise, we're going to not pick up any points from the last couple of games. But I'll take on Matt Ritchie for this one, and I think it's very similar to Manquillo. I thought he was having an okay game up until the stupid error that he made. Now, I know Rose was out of position, and I know Federico got absolutely torn apart by getting nutmegged, but the way I see it, Formica was he'd lost the ball. He had too heavy of a touch, and he's kind of just left his body there to bait him. And I think a player of Ritchie's experience shouldn't get drawn into that. And I think he's just got too emotional, and just clobbered into him. It's definitely a penalty for sure, but it's so unlike Ritchie to do things like that. He's usually calm and composed unless he scores a goal in which he batters the corner flag half to death. But like it's just so unlike Matt Ritchie, and I've got to give him a 3 out of 10. Exactly the same as Manquillo. Did okay, but mistake like that's cost with today, and I cannot really forgive that. So it does mark him down. Any disagreements, Sam?
Yes, and this will probably get me some heat in the comments because I'm trying to look at this. I thought he was having a great game up until the penalty. I really did. I'm trying to look at this objectively and take my emotion out of it now, because the good thing about having the fan reaction show straight afterwards, you can get it all out. So I've kind of calmed down a bit now, and I can kind of look at things more objectively. I put on the group chat that we have at NFTV that I thought Ritchie was having a stormer, and then 30 seconds later he gives away that penalty. So it's probably my fault that he's done that. I thought his passing in the first half and his crossing was back to Matt Ritchie that we know. He's losing a yard of pace, bless him, which isn't ideal because he was never the fastest to begin with. So he did kind of struggle at times, but I think him and Rose down that left-hand side play quite well together. I quite like it. His passing was fine. His crossing was back on point. Put the corner in for the goal. Put the cross in, which led to the corner for the goal. And a lovely cross it was too. So I'd have scored him up. I thought he actually had a better game than Almiron, but when you give away a penalty, then your performance is tainted.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, to be fair, he did have a couple of early passes in the game, but I've marked him down on his mistake and mistake alone. He always works hard. You always get that with Matt Ritchie, but that mistake for me, I kind of give him a score more than Manquillo for a similar type of error. But we'll move on to Dwight Gayle, and it's probably fair to take this one on as I've been probably one of his biggest critiques on this channel. But since that miss against Man City, he's actually been quite clinical in front of goal. Now, I still think he will. I still think he will leave the club in the summer. I really do. But it's nice to see Gayle back to his old self in a way where he's just scoring them poachy little goals in the 6-yard area, getting in and around the box and taking his finish as well. And that's a Dwight Gayle that we kind of fell in love with in the Championship, and it's kind of went missing for a year or two as he's went to West Brom and really reminded what kind of striker he can be, and now he's reminding me yet again that there is a good player in there. And I think other than his goal, we really relied on Gayle today. I think he got his sell about. His position was on point. He was pulling Dawson out of positions for players to go in. And he had a good game today, and I'd say he was on par with Lascelles and say he was probably one of our best players. So I'm going to give Gayle a 7 out of 10. I think he took his goal well. Obviously, if he'd have missed it, it would have been worse than the Man City miss. But now you've got to be in them positions for goals like that, and he took a chance and it worked, and he was onside, and you kind of felt I kind of felt guilty today. I thought he played well, and I thought when he went off, we lost that focal point up front, and we really missed that. So fair play to Dwight Gayle. I'm happy he's picked up form since the restart, and I'm happy to say when I'm wrong. Although I stick by the point of that he will be away in the summer. I think he's doing really well. So I think for the remainder of the season, you stick with Dwight Gayle, because although he's got the words against him that he's a championship striker, at least he is a striker, because we've been arguing back and forth all season that Joelinton's a winger or even or whatever it may be. But at least with Gayle, you've got a striker that knows how to play the striker position. So I'd stick with Gayle between now and the end of the season if Carroll isn't fit. So yeah, 7 out of 10. But Joelinton is the first and only substitute we're going to give a score today. But Sam, I'll let you finish with Joelinton before we go with Bruce.
So it was the wrong substitution to make for starters. But this is another reason why I think your Matt Ritchie score is harsh, because straight away I was going to give Joelinton a 4 because he didn't do anything and wasn't. I mean, the substitution, when they do arrive with Bruce, they always arrive too late. But straight swap for Ritchie, so he's playing down that left-hand side. Did he improve things when Ritchie came on? No,
he didn't.
No. Ritchie looked more of a threat, which is why I think he did have a penalty aside. I thought Ritchie was absolutely fine today, but when you give a penalty away that ultimately costs you or starts to cost you the game, although it wasn't as bad as Manquillo's, you're going to get slated. So yeah, Joelinton's got a 4. Did absolutely jack. Meh. What's time's running out for him. Like I said on the preview last night, first half of next season is going to be
a big one for him. Yeah,
it's going to make or break him. It's going to decide the path his career goes.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But for the other three substitutions, Bentaleb, Croft, and Valentino Lazaro, all NA due to Steve Bruce, as Sam said before, making substitutions too late. But we'll both score Steve Bruce. I'll let you score him first before I do, and then we'll come to some agreement on the score. How do you think Steve Bruce did from start to finish today, Sam?
Team lineup I was fine with, apart from Schar. Substitutions, terrible. Game management, terrible. Squad management, terrible. I'm struggling with this one because I really don't like to criticise for the sake of criticising, and I've seen in his post-match quotes as well, he's calling both penalties soft, tough. They're penalties.
They're definitely penalties.
Tough. If they were that soft, VAR would have overruled. I've got to say, I really didn't think much of him today. I'm struggling to come up with a number, which is fair. Because at the end of the day, the first half was very good.
4? I'd give him a 4. In line with some of the worst players. Not quite as bad as Manquillo, but
I was going to go 3 of it. So
I'm not going to argue with you, mate. If you want to give a 3, crack on. I'm not going to argue for Steve Bruce to get a higher number after the day.
Because at the end of the day, the game was there for the taking. The game was there for the winning, and we come on to the same old issues with Matty Longstaff again. What's going on with him? Because Bruce is on board with the club. He keeps saying, "Oh, we've made him a fantastic offer." So I don't know. I'm getting really irritated now, and it's just the same garbage spouted every week, and game management, squad management, it's just non-existent, and he's just looking for excuses all the time. It's really irritating. So I mean, it's 3 points dropped. We should have won that game today. Never mind holding on for a point. After that first half, we should have been out of sight. Watford were there for the taking. Their heads are dropped, and we've allowed that to happen. They weren't scoring from open play, despite their second half domination. We were comfortable. So I suppose individual errors has cost Bruce a little bit, but even then, you could tell the game was turning. The tide had turned after 55 minutes, and the players were sent to warm up. So you thought, oh, okay, fair enough, he's changing it. He's giving it plenty of time. He's reacting for a change. He's getting ahead of the curve. And then he had Joelinton waiting on the sidelines for 10 minutes at least. So it's, I don't know, it's so wearisome now. But he's got more points than Rafa. I mean, Matt, yeah, it's just a really tedious argument. But what do you think, Kyle?
Well, personally, I think I like get your comments in. What formation did we finish with today? Like the thing I've got a question with Bruce is like, there's no plan B. They just if we get found out because Nigel, as I've said in the instant reaction, Nigel Pearson made a change at half time. He decided to push for a little bit more and he decided to press the ball a little bit more, and we didn't have an answer for that. As soon as the penalty was given away, Watford grew into the game and we didn't match them. We needed to change the formation. We needed to change it up a little bit to match them. We took our best player off going forward, which was Dwight Gayle, and we just lost we just lost everything from there. And again, no plan B. I do agree with the comment. Joelinton shouldn't have been played, and I think Matty should have played a part as well, especially with how energetic Decore and how energetic Will Hughes is in the midfield. Matty would have been a good match for them, but for whatever reason it may be, I think it's all to do with his contract as to why he's not playing. But isn't that just so ridiculous and petty though? I mean, he's signed on to do a job between now and the end of the season, but you're just going to sit him on a bench and anyway for a defender to play in his position, and even then bringing on Bentaleb. If I was Matty, I'd be insulted. I'd take it as a spit, take it as being spat in the face. Like, considering Schar isn't competent in midfield at all, and Bentaleb isn't competent in midfield at all. So,
on the flip side, though, how many times do we see it with players who are running out their contract and say, "Oh, I don't want to play. I don't want to play for risk of picking up an injury." So you don't know. I'd love to know what is actually going on with that whole situation. I was a bit irritated that it wasn't mentioned in the presser yesterday. I don't know if anyone's asked Bruce at the end of the game what's going on, because I haven't. I've been on camera since full time, so I haven't had a proper look yet. Whether anyone's asked him about the situation and why Schar was picked over Longstaff. I mean, at least Schar was picked over Bentaleb, because that saves me getting irate about Bentaleb again. But even then, Bentaleb came on ahead of Matty anyway, so I don't know. But it's going to be an interesting transfer window, because Bruce has said he wants 4 players in. Who's going to be the owner? What's the budget going to be? Who's going to stay? Who's going to go? Who's going to sign new contracts? It's getting to that time of year now where these questions will have answers soon.
Yeah, I completely agree. But that's scoring the players. Get your comments in. Let us know your scoring the players. For me, very dismal second half, and I don't expect to see many high scores as I look through the comments later on. But there's still more to come on NFTV later on. We've got looking at the opposition with Lee, and I think he's doing the final word as well with a little clip
Last
from
word.
Owen. It's to say it should just call it the review, man. But no, it's been scoring the players with Kyle and Sam, and I'll catch you all in a bit and see you later. Ta-da.
Yeah.